What is the most repeated financial lie in history? You have heard it 1,000 times. At every family Thanksgiving, at every backyard barbecue, in every piece of unsolicited advice. Renting is throwing money away. You have to buy a house to build wealth. You're just paying the landlord's mortgage. But what if I told you that phrase was invented by banks, realtors, and contractors to turn you into a cash cow for interest and fees? What if I told you that mathematically, the smart renter is becoming a millionaire while the homeowner is quietly going broke? The cold, hard mathematical truth is that for the majority of the middle class in 2026, a primary residence is not an asset. It is a disguised liability. It is a financial black hole that eats your freedom on a monthly basis. While the renter pays one bill and sleeps soundly, you pay the mortgage, the insurance that doubled, the property tax that hiked, the roof that leaked, and the special assessment fee that appeared out of nowhere. You think you own the house? Try not paying your property taxes for 3 months and see who really owns it. Try ignoring a leaking roof and see what your asset is worth then. I am Buck, and today we are going to demolish the myth of homeownership. I'm going to prove to you, with numbers, that the American dream has morphed into the perfect financial trap. If you have the guts to look at the reality behind the white picket fence, stay with me. To understand the scam, you do not need to imagine a disaster. You do not need to imagine a hurricane blowing your roof off. You just need to look at your next Saturday morning. You worked hard all week, you're exhausted. You just want to drink your coffee and do absolutely nothing, but you can't. Your house won't let you. You look out the window and the grass is too high. You look at the ceiling and there is a spider web in the corner. You turn on the faucet and it is dripping just a little bit. The air conditioning filter needs changing. The garage door is squeaking. You leave to buy just one little thing at the hardware store, maybe a light bulb. 2 hours later, you walk out of there with $300 less in your bank account, carrying it poison, a new hose, window weather stripping, and batteries. This doesn't happen once a year. This happens every single weekend. Your house is like a giant baby that never grows up, never gets out of diapers, and never stops asking for money. It is financial death by 1,000 cuts, week after week, draining your life in soft installments that you don't even notice until you look at your balance at the end of the month. The seller swore everything was in perfect condition. The inspector said the structure was solid. They lied. All of them. The entire real estate system is designed to hide the truth until the moment the ink dries on your signature. Last year, Americans collectively spent $526 billion on home repairs and renovations. $526 billion. That is more than the entire GDP of Sweden. It is a mountain of cash being incinerated just to keep four walls and a roof standing. And yet, when you are sitting at the closing table signing your life away for 30 years, nobody mentions this number. The realtor smiles. The bank manager shakes your hand. They tell you about the interest rate. They tell you about the mortgage payment. They congratulate you on achieving success. But nobody warns you about the financial avalanche that starts the exact second you take the keys. The silence regarding the real costs is deafening. Let's dissect what actually happens in the trenches of ownership. You buy a house for $350,000. Your mortgage comes out to $2,100 a month. You did the math. It fits the budget. You feel like a genius. Congratulations, you are a homeowner. You won the game. 6 weeks later, we are in the middle of a heat wave. The thermometer hits 95 degrees. The air conditioner makes a popping sound and dies. Silence. The technician comes out, looks at you with pity, and says the compressor is shot. $7,000. 3 months later, you are lying on the couch and you notice a yellow stain on the living room ceiling. Roof leak. Another $4,500. Then, on Thanksgiving Day, the water heater starts making a sound like a dying whale in the basement. $1,800. It is November. You have owned the house for only 8 months. You haven't even finished decorating. And you have already spent $13,300 on repairs you never saw coming. Your emergency fund is obliterated. Your credit card balance is climbing. And you start to understand why your neighbor looks so tired all the time. He isn't tired from work. He's tired from the house. This isn't bad luck. Get the idea out of your head that you were unlucky and bought a lemon. This is pure statistics. According to a recent 2025 bank rate study, the average single-family homeowner in the United States spends $21,400 per year on hidden costs. $21,400. Divide that by 12. That is $1,783 a month. On top of the mortgage, these are not optional expenses. This isn't a renovation to make the kitchen look pretty. This isn't lifestyle. These are mandatory payments for the privilege of owning a structure that is actively trying to self-destruct every second. Entropy is the most powerful law in the universe, and your house is its favorite target. The real estate industrial complex sold you a fairy tale. They told you the mortgage payment is the cost of housing. That is a lie. Your mortgage is just the entry fee to a very expensive casino where the house always wins, and the house, literally, is your house. It plays against you. Let me show you the depth of this rabbit hole. Traditional financial experts, the ones living on the moon, love to repeat the 1% rule. They say, set aside 1% of your home's value each year for maintenance. Sounds reasonable, right? For a $350,000 house, that would be $3,500 a year. $300 a month. You can handle that. Except that rule is a catastrophic lie. It was created decades ago when labor was cheap and materials were affordable. In 2025, that rule is obsolete. A recent Angie's List survey found that actual homeowner spending averages between 2 and 3% annually. For that same house, you are looking at $7,000 to $10,500 a year, just for maintenance, just to break even. And that is assuming nothing catastrophic happens. One homeowner recently reported budgeting $4,800 a year based on the 1% rule. Their actual spending, $15,000 every single year. The 1% rule is not financial advice. It is a psychological sedative to get you to sign the contract. But wait, because it gets much worse. That maintenance number doesn't include real emergencies. Nearly half of homeowners, 46%, faced more than $5,000 in unexpected repair costs last year. Unexpected means you can't budget for it because you don't know it's coming. Foundation issues? That can cost $30,000. HVAC replacement? $15,000. Roof replacement? Average of $8,400. And if you live in an area with labor shortages, good luck getting those prices. It will cost double. A NerdWallet study found that 44% of homeowners had their first major surprise repair within the first year. 12% got hit in the first month. You still have moving boxes in the living room and your house is already extracting tribute. The psychological weight of this is crushing. Over 60% of homeowners report being more worried about maintenance costs now than they were just a few months ago. Think about that. These aren't irresponsible people who bought mansions they couldn't afford. These are people who did everything right. They saved for a down payment, they got pre-approved, they bought within their budget, and they are still drowning. Because here's the truth about houses that nobody tells you. They are not like cars where you can drive them until the wheels fall off and then sell them for scrap. Houses require constant feeding. Your roof has a lifespan. Your water heater has a lifespan. The windows, the siding, the foundation. Everything is dying on different timelines. And when those timelines converge, you are looking at 5-figure bills hitting simultaneously, and the costs are accelerating. 7 categories of home maintenance saw double-digit increases in the last year. Supply chain disruptions drove up material costs. Extreme weather events increased repair frequency. Labor shortages made contractors the kings of the market who charge whatever they want. It is a perfect storm of financial pressure, and your house is sitting right in the middle of it. And location turns this nightmare into Russian roulette. Hidden costs in Hawaii hit $34,000 a year. In West Virginia, $12,000. The same theoretical house, the same maintenance, but the cost triples depending on your zip code. New York City, $24,000 annually in hidden costs. San Francisco, $22,000. These numbers aren't anomalies. They are the new normal. A survey showed that while 87% of homeowners had issues requiring professional help last year, over 33% did not have the money to fix problems over $1,000. 15% didn't have $500. Read that again in your mind. 15% of homeowners, people the bank said were qualified, do not have $500 for an emergency. They aren't broke because they spend on luxury. They are broke because homeownership is systematically more expensive than anyone admits. And we haven't even started talking about the three horsemen of the financial apocalypse: insurance, taxes, and HOA fees. Maintenance is just the foundation. The real financial ruin is what gets stacked on top. Let's talk about the tax that never stops growing: property tax. The average American homeowner now pays around $3,500 a year. That went up 4% from last year, but the average hides the horror. Property taxes aren't static. They rise with your home's assessed value, which means as the real estate market goes up and you feel rich on paper, the government comes and demands more hard cash from your pocket. You didn't sell the house. You didn't realize any profit, but now you owe more. It is a tax on unrealized gains. The geographic lottery here is insane. A $400,000 property in New Jersey pays almost $9,000 in tax per year. In Florida, $3,200. That is a nearly $500 monthly difference for the exact same asset. And this affects your buying power. If you live in a high-tax state, the bank reduces the amount they lend you because they know the government is going to take the first slice of your paycheck. You are punished by geography before you even move in. Non-mortgage costs, meaning insurance, utilities, and taxes, jumped 30% in 2025 alone. Not in 5 years. In 1 year. 30%. Did your salary go up 30% last year? I doubt it. The combination of rising property values and skyrocketing insurance rates creates a double impact. Even if you never plan to sell, even if you plan to die in that house, your monthly bill is climbing on two separate escalators at the same time. Now, let's throw gasoline on this fire. HOA fees. Homeowners associations. Almost half of all homes for sale in 2025 were in an association. The median fee rose from $18 to $135 in 6 years, a 25% increase. But medians hide the real story. In disaster-prone markets, fees exploded. Tampa saw increases of 17% in 1 year. Orlando, Fort Worth, Atlanta, all with double-digit increases. Why? Because building insurance went up 40%, common area maintenance went up, and the association has no choice but to pass the bill to you. And here's the psychological torture. Annual increases of 2 to 5% are considered normal and necessary, which means your HOA fee will never stay the same. It will always go up. Forever. It is compound inflation eating your fixed income. But wait, there is more. Beyond monthly fees, there is the terror of special assessments. These are one-time charges for unexpected building repairs. Did the condo roof collapse? Did the pool crack? They can drop a $10,000, $20,000, sometimes $50,000 bill in your lap with 30 days notice. No vote, no discussion. Pay up or lose your home. You think you own your property? Try not paying that special assessment and see who really calls the shots. The association contract is stronger than your deed. Let me paint a picture of how this stacks up in the real world. Take a mid-range condo in a major city. Mortgage, $2,200, tax, $400. HOA, $350. Insurance, $150. You're at $3,100 a month. Before turning on the lights, before saving money for when the fridge breaks. And all those numbers, except the mortgage, are rising faster than your income. In Florida, condos are the canary in the coal mine. Fees of $1,000 to $2,000 per month are becoming common. Combined with insurance and taxes, the monthly cost of an average unit hits $4,000 to $6,000. Meanwhile, an identical apartment for rent in the building next door costs $1,600. Renting is 40 to 50% cheaper than buying in many markets today. You save thousands of dollars a year by avoiding taxes, fees, and maintenance. The math has inverted. Ownership has become the luxury option. the expensive option. This isn't theory. Sales data shows it. Condo sales are plunging while financed buyers can't make the math work. Only all cash buyers are closing deals because only the rich can afford to lose money every month on maintenance. Let's talk about the HGTV effect, because this might be the cruelest psychological trick the market plays. You watch those renovation shows. The couple buys an old house, knocks down walls, installs quartz countertops, and 30 minutes later the house is worth double and they are popping champagne. What they don't show you is the part where the kitchen renovation, budgeted at $15,000, cost $35,000 because they found mold behind the cabinets. The wiring was from 1950, and the plumber discovered a leak that had been running for a decade. Spending on renovations is predicted to reach an all-time high in 2026. Not because people love spending money on grout, but because once you start, you can't stop. You replace the cabinets and the floor looks old. You replace the floor and the walls look dirty. It is an infinite cycle of consumption. And if you think you can escape by buying new construction, think again. New homes cost less to maintain as a percentage. Yes, it's out 2% instead of 8% for old homes. But the purchase price is much higher. You are still writing giant checks. You just traded old problems for expensive problems wrapped in modern finishes. So, what do you do with this information? I am not telling you to never buy a house. I am telling you to stop treating your primary residence like a magic lottery ticket to wealth. It is not. It is a leveraged bet on property appreciation while you pay rent to the bank, the government, the association, and the laws of physics that degrade materials. If appreciation doesn't happen, if the market goes sideways, if your neighborhood falls out of fashion, you spent years paying a premium to own something that is extracting your wealth instead of building it. Let's run the wealth math. The math your realtor doesn't want you to do. A $400,000 house, 20% down, that is $80,000. Mortgage at 7%. Realistic total monthly payment with all hidden fees, $3,413. You are spending almost $41,000 a year just to keep the house standing. Now, look at the opportunity cost. If you had invested that $80,000 down payment in a boring index fund for 30 years at 7%, it turns into $600,000. But the real magic is the monthly difference. Renting a similar spot would cost $2,000. Buying costs $3,413. That is a difference of $1,413 every single month. If you invest that difference every single month, you retire with $1.6 million in liquid, accessible wealth. The homeowner? He has a house that might be worth $850,000. After paying 6% to sell it, he walks away with $799,000. The investing renter has $1.6 million. The homeowner has $799,000. The renter has double the wealth. Double. And yet, we have been culturally programmed, pure brainwashing, to believe the renter is the fool paying the landlord's mortgage. In reality, the homeowner is the one paying the bank's mortgage and Home Depot's profit margin. The alternative isn't glamorous, but it is effective. Rent the house. Invest the brutal difference between ownership costs and rent into real assets. Assets that do not require quarterly gutter cleaning. Max out your retirement accounts. Build a stock portfolio. Have cash on hand. When you rent, the roof is someone else's problem. The heater is someone else's problem. The special assessment is someone else's problem. You pay one predictable bill per month and you are done. Your money compounds instead of evaporating into contractor invoices. Homeownership isn't evil, it is just expensive. Prohibitively expensive for many people who were told it was the only path to security. Real security comes from understanding the full cost structure before you sign. It comes from running the real numbers, not the realtor's fantasies. It comes from recognizing that the American dream has a price tag of tax, insurance, and maintenance attached. Nobody is coming to rescue you when the foundation cracks. The house doesn't care about your budget. It will break. You will pay. The only question is whether you planned for it or if you were caught in the trap. Do the math before falling in love with the granite countertops. Calculate the real monthly cost all in. Compare it to rent. Be honest about whether you are buying a home or buying a story about what having a home is supposed to mean, because the house will take your money either way. The choice is whether you hand it over voluntarily or get mugged by reality. Now, I know what you are thinking. Buck, I get the scam. The math makes sense, but I already bought the house, or I'm about to buy and I have no choice. How do I protect myself from this bleeding? You need a financial defense protocol. You need military discipline so you don't let the house swallow your future. Motivation fades when the first pipe bursts. Strategy is what remains. I created the exact manual for those who want to take back control of their money, whether you own or rent. It is called The Order of the Day: 365 High-Impact Actions for Your Financial Sovereignty. This is not a decorating book. It is a survival book. One mission a day. How to create a specific war chest for home maintenance. How to bulletproof your budget against the hidden costs that break the middle class. How to negotiate and cut expenses that don't matter so you have money left over for the roof that will inevitably break. If you want to stop being surprised by bills and start dictating the rules of your money, the link is in the first pinned comment. Get your copy, receive your orders, and stop being a slave to your own house. I want to hear from you in the comments. What was the most absurd surprise cost you have had with your house so far? Was it the roof? The AC? The tax that doubled? Write it down below. Let's create a database of reality to warn those who are still daydreaming. If this video opened your eyes to the mathematical reality of housing, leave a like. Share it with that friend who is about to sign a contract that will ruin their life. Subscribe to the channel for more brutal truths that the real estate system doesn't want you to know. Keep your numbers clear and your soul free. I am Buck. I'll see you in the trenches.